June 1st, 1796, statehood before anyone put pen to paper. Movers and shakers of Tennessee were spreading the desire to be independent.
The first Constitution was written in 1796. Before that time, Tennessee had been a territory, and before that, it had been a part of North Carolina. So originally, it operated under the North Carolina Constitution as part of North Carolina.
Right after the United States declared its independence in 1776, Tennessee started with 6 counties under the umbrella of North Carolina and continued to grow from 1777 to 1788. In that time, a group of rebels led by John Sevier attempted to create their own statehood.
The state of Franklin was sort of a rebellion by some of the folks in eastern Tennessee against the North Carolina government because they felt they were ignored. You know, they were across the mountains. Communication was difficult, and they didn't feel like their needs were being met. So they tried to form a state.
The state of Franklin lasted a short 4 years, 1784 to 1788.
It fell apart. Not everybody was for it, and North Carolina was certainly against it.
Shortly after, North Carolina ceded its Tennessee lands to the federal government, and that formed the Southwest Territory in 1789. That's also when the federal government formed 3 districts. From 1789 to 1795, warfare increased with the native tribes, and Tennessee expanded to 11 counties.
Folks in Tennessee thought they were ready to become a state. A census was taken, and there were 60,000 people. That was the requirement. And then a vote was taken about whether the people wanted to be a state.
In 1795, 8 eastern counties voted for statehood, while 3 Middle Tennessee counties voted against it.
The Middle Tennessee counties were concerned that the more populous eastern counties would dominate the state government.
5 delegates from each county traveled to Knoxville in January of 1796 for the first Constitutional Convention of Tennessee.
It took them 27 days, which actually is a very short amount of time, but they did a lot of borrowing.
Those 55 delegates were already familiar with the North Carolina Constitution, having lived under it.
They borrowed a lot from the Pennsylvania Constitution of 1790. It was one of the more recent state constitutions and was viewed as modern.
Tennessee was the first territory to apply for statehood.
The Constitution was sent to Congress, and Congress debated on the admission of Tennessee until June 1st of 1796, when George Washington signed the act that made Tennessee a state.
And the 16th state of the Union.